All right. Hopefully everything's working. And I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. I'm Jeff Lambert from 8451. All right, looks like we're presenting now. So welcome everyone. Today you're going to have Jeff Lambert from 8451, along with my good friend Suresh. We're going to talk you through some of the things that we've done with Unravel at 8451 to slash operational costs and improve the efficiency of what we're doing inside of our on-prem Hadoop clusters, our Azure environments, and GCP. Just a little bit about me. I'm on our engineering ecosystem leadership team. I'm an 8451 partner, and I'm a former VP of Data Solutions. I took a new role recently, and now I'm the VP of our Insight Solutions. That just means that I not only mess with the data, but I also figure out how to commercialize it to some of our CPG partners. But I still take a vested interest in the things that we've done with Unravel and our data team, because data is the lifeblood of our particular organization. So what is 8451? 8451 is a strategic partner, and we're 100% owned by the Kroger company and all the Kroger banners that sit inside of the Kroger company. What we essentially are doing is turning data into data science and DNA for all Kroger customers, brands, all of their stores, category management, supply chain management. We're in the pharmacy. We're pretty much across most of their operations data, and then interjecting sciences and providing results. Those results could be insight-based, but they could also be based on recommendations that we make out to customers or to CPGs, customers for offers or prices or products they might want to try, or offers in the form of pricing offers, lowered pricings, promotions, and certain offers like coupons, both digital and paper. We also have the 1,400 consumer packaged goods companies that help to supply Kroger. That's a vast majority of them as clients. So we're providing insights and recommendations and consulting with them about how to win with customers at Kroger. You can see at the bottom our big data use cases sit primarily along those areas that I called out before. And then 8451 Stratum is our commercial insights product. That's the one that I'm currently heading up all the engineering around. And then our 8451 Prism offering is about how do we get customer offers to customers through the various channels that they participate in, whether that's digital, online, or in store, or at till and in the mail. Okay, so I'm going to take you a little bit through the journey that we've gone on with Unravel. It all started out probably for me about 6 months ago when somebody came to me and said, "Hey, Lambert, we need you to help control some of the costs that are going on within the organization." And here are some common quotes that I heard in the earliest part of that conversation. "I don't want to buy any more Hadoop just because we're lazy. Let's figure out how to actually optimize for it." Essentially, I had people coming to me that were users that were saying, "Hey, people are jamming up our Hadoop resources. They're taking all the resources that we have and they're using them inefficiently. And in general, I can't get my work done because people are being inefficient in what we're trying to do." And then there was also a tremendous, we're in the process of actually expanding our cloud environments. We were in GCP, had a pretty good start in GCP, and then we got into a strategic relationship with Microsoft. So now we're in the process of expanding our footprint within Microsoft Azure, Databricks, and Snowflake. And so people were constantly asking me, "Hey, I'm running this on-prem or in GCP, and how much is it going to actually take me to run that in either GCP or Azure?" And then this kind of mixes together with some of the three C's that we were taught, that we in particular around crew. So we really wanted to be able to help our Hadoop admins, people like Suresh, to be able to have a little bit more time to work on proactive Hadoop improvements, whether those are upgrades or just general troubleshooting. And we didn't really have, we had a lot of complexity in that environment, which is another one of the things that we talked about, that we heard about earlier, impacting our teams and our admins. And so this was an attempt to try and find ways to use tooling. And it turned out that Unravel ended up helping to solve that problem with us and for us by giving us some of the tooling that would help us to eliminate some of those complexities and understand what's going on within different environments so that we could make those improvements. And while it gave Suresh a little bit more work to do in the short term to set up Unravel, it certainly allowed him, once some of the automated tasks, to notify some of our power users that were probably being a little bit too greedy with resources or writing ineffective code. It allowed Suresh to essentially, notify them automatically and have them address those things proactively for themselves versus him having to chase them down. I will tell a funny little story. In the earliest days, Suresh would find bad things, and then we'd play bad cop and good cop. So we're a good team. Suresh basically finds them and tries to be nice with them, and then when they don't listen, I'd come in and thump them on the head and tell them to cooperate, essentially. Ultimately, you can see what we really wanted to do at the bottom. We wanted to be good stewards of our investments, which we've definitely done. And then on top of that, we wanted to improve the user experience for those data workers. And Unravel was something that was introduced to me 6 months ago, and I feel like since we've really started diving into that particular tool and technology, it's been really great for us. We've made a lot of progressive improvements initially within our on-prem Hadoop clusters, and now we're in a much better place than where we were initially. Some of the key goals that we were trying to achieve as we went through these different activities included lower capital investment. So you heard me talking earlier about some of those quotes. We had a common practice of, well, our performance has gotten lower. We don't have any space left. Our memory's maxed. Let's just go out there and buy some more, right? And so you do that once, you do that twice, and then people start looking around and saying, is this never ending or what? And on top of that, we want to balance our on-prem investment in technologies and hardware in particular against what we want to do in the cloud, so that we can optimize and get the best of both worlds across that world. Cluster efficiency is a big thing. So we have memory constrained clusters, and then we just had inefficient jobs. And one thing that Unravel's really great at is pointing out to you whenever you'd like, really, but we were doing it on a weekly basis, the things that were actually causing the most pain and suffering across the two main clusters that we have within our world. And so that generally started the conversation with Suresh and I. Suresh, go get them, help them understand what needs to be changed. And when they didn't listen, then I came around and virtually twisted their arm. But I think in general, we have really good responses. And now I would say that our development community has even integrated in some places where we're best in class or best in company, I should say. They've integrated Unravel directly into their development processes, and before they actually take things to production, they use that as a final check to make sure that all of their Spark configurations and settings are in good spaces so that we don't get into trouble. Now, Suresh is going to take you later into a little example of small files. So obviously this is a problem with a Hadoop cluster. If you have these things out there in the world, they cause your cluster to have degraded health. And so Unravel was able to help us with some utilities and some of the configuration items that they helped us with to detect those small files and then to help us to get those cleaned up. And that had a tremendous amount of impact around space and efficiency and use and everything that goes along with that. So the one big thing is, as I talked earlier, when you're talking about your crew, they're always limited. You have to get into better adoption practices around these things. And so, again, iron fist, basically me making a bunch of trouble for people who weren't using the tool, telling them that they needed to be better, trying to get Unravel embedded into our development processes was a key goal of mine, to ensure that we were heading in the right directions and that we were maximizing our investment that we were making with Unravel as a tool. So that was big. And then once again, call out, we wanted to get our Hadoop admins into a really great space, right? Into a better space where they had more time to spend on value-added activities. And so the the notification processes that Unravel helped us to set up helped Suresh to essentially let those notifications roll. And then if people weren't responding to them over time, then we basically address them. But in general, it allows people like Suresh to do more value-added things. All right, now I'm going to talk to you guys about. Sorry, go ahead. Oops, sorry, thought I heard somebody there. So I'm going to take you through a small here and something that we call executive dashboard. This is a really great story in collaboration, excuse me, between Unravel and 8451 around this dashboard. So the dashboard, this is just, I previously had demoed this at a previous Unravel event. I'm not demoing this here. This is just a dashboard screenshot of what we have. Essentially what this would allow us to do is to look specifically at one of our Hadoop clusters, and it gave me the ability to essentially select a range. Then it actually allowed me to determine which areas I wanted to group by, and if I wanted to apply any filters. And then I'd hit the go button there, and it would essentially come back with all the different users and how much vCore time they're actually using, how much memory they're actually using, reads and writes, and the number of sessions, and why, right? Why were we doing this? Well, we have Cloudera. That certainly tells us a lot about what's going on. But with Unravel, what we were able to do is use this data to get at fine grained user information about who was doing what and for how much they were actually consuming. And the idea here was to basically give a profile to our execs about which groups were using Hadoop, how much of it were they using, and how much of that were they using relative to other technologies like Azure and GCP. The main focus here was to essentially try and ensure that we were balancing the load between mainly Azure and our on-prem environments. But what I had previously done was gone into the Unravel UI, and it did pretty much most of the job. I had a conversation with some of our Unravel folks that you'll see later in the presentation, who they were. And I said, guys, this is just a little bit painful for me. And I talked to them for maybe 30 minutes one day. And the next day, they had developed the first version of this dashboard. And I wrote them back an email, said, this is fantastic, but can you format this? Can you do that? Can you make this a little bit easier for me? And by the next day, they had turned that around, and they had created this thing that made my life and job easier, probably cut some of the fishing that I was doing at least down to 10% of what it had previously been. And then we use this to essentially integrate into some of our system-wide reporting, which we do with Grafana because it has some legacy technologies that we integrate into it. And Unravel's not necessarily interested in looking at SaaS right now, so I didn't ask for them to make connectors to SaaS. I just said, hey, if you can make it easy for me to get out this data, that's great. And they did it, and it was a 2-day turnaround. It was one of the best turnarounds I've ever seen in terms of understanding requirements and then making things happen. So that executive dashboard, I think, is readily deployable to other clients that are on Unravel, and I think that that's a great example of partnership. And what it certainly did was it decreased the amount of complexity in my life. So another one of those things that we had heard earlier about technical challenges, they made it easier for me, and I appreciate that. All right, so what's next in terms of our relationship with Unravel? And then we'll let Suresh give you some details about some of the technical nitty gritty. We continue to expand that partnership, right? So back in, I would say probably the October, November timeframe, I had a conversation with my Unravel folks, and they were only working with Spark 2.x in a variety of capacities. And I said, hey, if you want us to do more with you, all of our stuff in the cloud is Spark 3.0. And if you want us to get there, then you're going to have to pull that 3.0 stuff up in your roadmap, or else we're just going to have to sit and wait. And that's unfortunate. And so our team, the 8451 team, the Unravel team assigned to 8451, took that back to the Unravel leads. And then the next thing you know, something that was scheduled to take place in the spring, summer, all of a sudden showed up in late January. And I was super pleased. We were able to take that version and install it into our environments. And then what that did was that opened us up to being able to use Unravel in Microsoft Azure and in GCP. So we just finished some POC type work on 3.0 in Azure, and we have to go back and kind of clean some stuff up because it was a POC, but we're well on our way to being able to use that there. And then we are also in the process of contemplating the work that it'll take to get to GCP. So that is all well and good. Now, if you haven't seen the functionality on their migration capabilities and tools, that's really the next focus for us. We want to be able to look at migration, job optimization on those two new technology areas, and then we want to be able to use their migration and optimization tools to essentially understand how much it's going to take to run jobs in different areas and locations, and then therefore the associated costs. So I'm looking forward to that. I think that's the next stepping stone for where we're trying to go. I'll just take a quick few seconds here to personally thank our 84 or the Unravel team that's assigned to 8451, in particular Dan Nicholson, Matt Sanger, and the wizard Wayne Zhu. Wayne is incredible and has helped Suresh on many occasions. We're super thankful to have these guys as partners in this battle to be more efficient. So I wanted to personally thank them because I'm probably going to be less involved with these things over time. And it's been really great to work with them. Now I'm going to turn it over to Suresh, and Suresh is going to take you through some details around some of the technical pieces that we've implemented. And then we'll try to leave some questions at the end of the session if you have them. Suresh, I'm going to unshare so you can drive.
Sure. So can you see that screen now, or? You guys see my screen?
Yes, we can.
Okay, great. So yeah, this is Suresh. Let me go over. Yes, yeah, I'm the lead engineer here, so supporting database and Exadata and Hadoop admins. So you guys are seeing my screen, right?
Yes.
I just go over this technical piece here, as Jeff said. So this is our current scenario here. Yeah, we have got both on-prem and cloud environments, and we implemented Unravel like 3 years ago on on-prem. Now we started implementing in our cloud too. So like Hadoop, we are using on-prem Hadoop and Spark, Yarn, all that pieces. And then on the cloud, we are using Databricks, Google, GCP, Azure, and Snowflake. This is our current environment. And the next piece is, this is like where we implemented the current Hadoop environments. And we have got 2 production clusters. One of the production cluster where engineering team uses, and that is we are going to upgrade to the latest version CDP private cloud-based 7.1.5. And rest of that environments already we migrated to the latest CDP and also latest Unravel software 4617 that is to be compatible with the CDP. And also, as Jeff said already, that we have implemented that Databricks Unravel in our Databricks environment in Azure cloud, and we are going to implement in the GCP. So this is just to give some idea about our environment at 8451. And the next one is like basically, right, I want to show that this is not a technical demo, but I just wanted to give like saying that how cool Unravel is. That's what I just wanted to go over. The Cloudera manager and all that, it's very difficult for non-Hadoop admins, especially coming from the database background, not from the Hadoop background and Spark background. This actually really helped me out to troubleshoot the issues. So this Unravel gives clear picture about holistic view, like the resources and heat map. I can really quickly identify the issues by looking at that. And next one is like even we are trying to optimize the applications, and even like sometimes even that most of the times if they run the jobs fine, they will not care about as long as it runs fine. So but as admins we are trying to spot inefficient applications and trying to work with them to optimize their jobs. So Unravel is really helping us out here. Like we can go over here and see that section called inefficient applications, and we can see the Spark. Under the Spark, we could see the event and we can capture one of them. And as you see that when we just giving some example here, how many resources we can optimize, like how many resources we are saving here by spotting the inefficient applications. As you see here, that one of the application is using 85 gig executor memory, and it's actually using just 2 gig. So basically it's wasting a lot of memory on that cluster. So we are identifying those applications and trying to reach out them and trying to correct it. And even this, not only this one, we are working with Unravel folks, as Jeff said that the Wenju and other folks, we are trying to come up with some kind of APIs so that we don't need to go connect to that Unravel all the time. With the APIs, we can just run that script, identify the applications, and reach out to the application folks. Even we are going and just trying to automate that process. Whenever there's an inefficient application, it's directly sent to the owner of the job so that they can fix the jobs themselves. So we don't need to follow up with them. So we are working on those front as well. And then another thing is, like as we said already, that we have got auto actions. With auto actions, we have set up a lot of job alerts, like to identify the resource contention and identify the rogue applications, identifying the rogue users, all that part. I'm just giving one example here. Like one day what happened, one of the cluster is completely hung because it's completely that one of the application is using a lot of resources and it occupied that whole memory of the cluster. It's completely hung. With Unravel, I quickly identified that within 5 minutes, not even 5 minutes. I identified that application and trying to reach out them. I bet that if that Cloudera manager, at least it would take 30 minutes or 20 minutes to identify, but with Unravel, I just identified within 5 minutes, especially coming from the non-Hadoop environment. So that I just wanted to share that how cool it is and how it made our life easy to identify the issues. And second one is this one also, like whenever the user is taking a lot of resources, we'll get an alert immediately, as you see here, and then we'll approach even it will send that alert to the user too, and at the same time we follow up with them and trying to get that result. And the another one is like and an unravel recommendations part. Just giving some example here, how our the analysts, the data scientists are using this and optimizing. They can see themselves here. With Unravel is providing the recommendations, and they can see that one of the job was running like 22 minutes. After optimizing, it is just running 12 minutes. So by following the Unravel recommendations here. So I just wanted to share that, how it is helping us out. And other part is like, yeah, basically I could say that not only this, we are trying to identify the rogue applications. We are trying to identify the rogue users, the resource contention, and quickly. And once we set up that auto action alert, so we don't need to do anything. All we need to do is just check the alerts, and act upon it. So we don't need to check that manually. And another part is this is cool stuff, small files. As everyone knows that there is the small files is a big issue in the Hadoop clusters and constantly filling up our cluster. And this Unravel is really helping us out. And we have scheduled the small file report. And with that, we are just quickly identifying the issues. One day, what happened? One of the user created like 77 million records, and it filled up the data nodes. And when we check that one, here it is like Cloudera Manager 1, and we see that suddenly there is a huge spike. So this is because of small file. And we went to the Unravel, and here you could see that the small file report. I can quickly went to the Unravel small file report and see that which folder occupied that small files, and immediately approached that user, and then he identified that it was due to some code issue, and it happened. Then immediately we deleted those small files and brought back that cluster to the normal. So this is very helpful and cool thing. Yeah. So I just wanted to say that how Unravel helped us out in the journey. Like before, I even Jeff already that shared with you guys, but really they're helping us out. Even we were having a lot of issues before, but we are having this health check calls with the Unravel customer success team, and every week, and we in that week, like in that meeting, we will always discuss about the challenges we are encountering and our roadmaps, and like whatever the issues, bugs we are encountering, and how to resolve that. So we are constantly bringing up to the team and trying to resolve those issues with their help. So although we are doing a lot of help, but you guys know that challenges, yeah, and keeps evolving every day with new enterprise capabilities, and especially in that our new cloud environment. Before, when we are trying to implement Unravel in the cloud, but that was not useful because most of the Spark applications are running on Spark 3.0, which Unravel did not support at that moment. Then we approached the team, and they immediately worked on it, and then we implemented the latest version that's supporting 3.0. So with the people finding it very helpful. And also, not only that, when we are trying, another challenge we are having right now is to migrate that jobs from the on-prem to the Databricks, Azure Databricks, and also from the GCP to Azure cloud environment. And Unravel is really helping us out in that process with their migration effort capabilities, and also like even our developer community also seeing the benefit, like they can see the chargeback report and see that which user and which application is taking up most of resources and trying to optimize it. So yeah, last but not least, I could say that especially I have come from the database background. So I just started supporting Hadoop just 1.5 year ago. But this Unravel really helped me out to manage that Hadoop clusters efficiently. Otherwise, not only managing, it's helping me out to run those clusters efficiently and optimizing the Spark applications. So without Unravel, I would definitely say that it would have been very difficult for me. So I would definitely say thank you to the Unravel. So with that, I'm closing my remarks to say thank you. Jeff, do you want to add anything?
Thanks, Suresh. We're tight on time, so if people do have questions, you can put it into the chat. I also put my email address in there if you wanted to follow up with questions to either Suresh or I. You can just direct it at that email address. But if people are still on the session and they have questions and want to chime in, we're happy to answer them. All right, if there's no questions, then certainly thank you guys for joining us. We appreciate Unravel asking us to take the time for this. We think it was super valuable in the partnership. And like I said, if you have follow-up questions, my email address is in the chat. You can certainly reach out to me, and we'd be happy to answer any of the technical pieces that we could and or the partnership and relationship pieces that we could if that helps anybody out. Thanks so much, everyone.